Hi, I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. Now, I need your help. I need you to go to my PayPal link. I'm going to put a link in the description box below. I'm also put it on here on the screen, so you could go there and donate to my show so I could expand this channel. Alright, this is going to be more of a discussion video. Now, I'm usually not all that great at these, but I'm just going to give it a shot because I do want to talk to you conservatives, because I did do a video a couple of days ago. I made a little clickbaity so I could get some of you to watch it, because one, I could use some more viewers. Number two is that I live in an area where there's a lot of conservatives around here, and I don't talk to them enough about politics, but I might try to do that a little bit more. But one thing I do need to talk to you guys is that one really important thing about politics and about our social system is that right now our government and our political system is so corrupt that one thing is we really need to just we need to start working together, because it's really the working class or the working people or the 99% versus the 1%, and that's really the truth. So even though we may disagree on pretty much every single policy position, at the end of the day it's really us versus the plutocrats or the oligarchs. So that's number one right off the bat. Number two, and I really want to talk about, is that our gun culture and our gun laws, because guns haven't protected you or your community from a tyrannical government. And I'm going to go on with this because this is going to take quite a bit of time. But the first part about how a lot of times you conservatives talk about, I need my gun to make sure I can prevent my government from becoming tyrannical and just fucking me and my community over, doing all sorts of hideous things that's harmful for me. Well, they've been doing that for a long time. Because, and one of the most important parts about this is that this country was founded off of being tyrannical, because they came here back in the 1600s, and there was already plenty of Native American people that were living here. Then, and of course, those colonists didn't come over and say, you know what, we're going to just live next to the Native Americans, and they'll be our neighbors, we're going to love them, they're going to love us, we're going to work together so we can make just a really nice place for everybody to live. No, they didn't do jack shit when it comes to that. They said, yeah, we're going to help you out a little bit, then we're going to fucking kill you, or we're going to kill you, or we're going to kill enough of you so you guys move out of this area, because we want this land. Because we don't live like you live, plus we have a different language, your skin's a different color, so we don't want to have jack shit to do with you for the most part. We're either going to kill you, or you're going to leave and live somewhere else. Because this is how we do it. This place is for us and us alone. And that's why, even though there is plenty of Native Americans that lived in this region of the world called North America, there's barely any, when you look at like the consensus, or when you look at the census and look at how many, white people, black people, Asian people, Native American people, etc., etc. When you go to the Native American population, it's like 2% or something. So if you don't think about it, it's like, yeah, there's barely Native American people, but it's got to be because the colonists just fucking killed them all. And that's why the Native American population isn't something like 20% or something like that. Because even though we don't know, or we don't learn too much about how many Native Americans lived out west, in the West Coast, when people went and started digging for gold back in, the 1800s, there still had to be someone there, because I don't really believe that just the west coast of North America was just barren and it was just wildlife and that was it. There had to be some Native Americans living there too. So there's one point about how it was built on tyrannical rule. And the second point was, you brought black people here as slaves. You didn't give them no rights, no protections. Just treated them like property, because they were property at that time. So that was another huge reason how this nation was built on tyrannical rule, and maybe one of the most, maybe the next, probably the third most important point about how this nation is ruled by tyranny is that after the Civil War ended and there were no more slaves, all the slave people were free people. Instead of the government saying, okay, and society saying, okay, you're free, so we're going to give you equal rights, we're going to treat you just as well as a white man, they said no. After when Reconstruction started happening, and after that, history books don't really talk about this at all when you're in grade school, but all they did is just terrorize black people and bring forward Jim Crow era laws for like the next 100 years, pretty much. So right after that, there was a period where black people were actually getting equal and fair treatment, but that was only for like 10 to 15 years. But then when the Jim Crow era came, just straight fucking tyranny. And it's not going to be mentioned that much in history books or maybe in some of the documentaries you might watch about the Reconstruction era, but just our society was fucking just enacted domestic terrorism on a mass scale against black people for about a fucking 100 years. And that's one of the worst parts of our history. And you could probably say that's also why black people just are in such a are still treated as second class citizens here, is because instead of just keeping on with the making sure they were getting treated equally right after slavery ended, nope, they went to say, nope, we're going to oppress them in a horrific and just overt way, and we're just going to keep doing that for a long time. So it went on for like, I think 100 years, for a whole fucking century, and that's fucking disgusting. And then soon after, the Civil Rights Act got written into law in the early 1960s. I think Richard Nixon, I think it was. What he did was he started the drug wars. And maybe I don't know how many people said, you know what, this is just bullshit right here, but at least Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks, he did a video, I think maybe a year or so ago now. Maybe it might have been 2 years, but he did a video somewhat recently about how the drug wars was just started over just suppressing black people and liberals, because at the time, I guess, was that liberals smoked weed, but it wasn't conservatives that did that. So maybe the majority of the population didn't know that, but now it's just fucking obvious that the drug wars is just a fucking farce. And then even though some of you white folks aren't as affected by the racist and suppressive drug wars that's been going on for the last like 50 years, almost 60 years now, you're still caught up in it too. It's not like, even though black people are arrested at a much higher rate for simple drug possession, white folks are still getting arrested and charged with just simple possession, and having the government oppress them by having much longer sentences than they should have, or really just being arrested for drug possession when they really shouldn't be, because for the most part, weed is pretty safe. You can't overdose off of it, and there's actually some good there's a few good medical uses for marijuana. One is glaucoma. I just happen to have that, so I could definitely use that to help with my physical ailments. Another one is like long-term chronic pain. That's another like really big one that people have been talking about, how either weed has helped them with their chronic pain, or that they live in a state where they're not able to get it, so they're in financial or just physical troubles because they're not able to get the relief that they need. Another thing I do need to mention is that the government's also going to manipulate you to get you upset at someone else, so they could take your rights or take our rights away, or take some of our freedoms away that they shouldn't, because it's just not necessary. Like, one was, I think, the Patriot Act, where it gave the government ability to spy on us and invade our privacy when they shouldn't. And of course, the big thing is the NSA, that either Eric Snowden or Eric Snowden revealed, was that they're just spying on everybody on a mass scale. And that does not help you, me, or anybody else. That only fucking helps the government when they just do mass surveillance. Then one other recent example of our government being tyrannical is just the basic war on terror. Our government lied to us about how Saddam Hussein was behind the 9/11 attacks, and he had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and they were just fucking liars. And they went in, invaded Iraq. Of course, they didn't find any weapons of mass destruction because there were none, because they just fucking lied over it. And of course, they just continued staying in there for a few years. So, of course, your guns were not going to be able to stop the government from doing that. But again, that's my point, is your guns have not stopped the government from overtly or covertly undermining your rights or rights of people that live in different nations or different sections of our country, to either to just take their rights away or to just kill people. And you may not care that our government's killing people in Iraq, still Afghanistan, especially Syria and Yemen, and Somalia, and Libya, and that we overthrew Gaddafi for just bullshit mostly. And now they have fucking open slave auctions. And that does not fucking help anybody anywhere, that there's open slave auctions in Libya when that nation was in good health before Barack fucking Obama himself said, you know what, we're gonna have to go and take his ass out. And then of course there's a video clip of Hillary Clinton laughing about him getting killed, and she's just so happy and giddy about it. So I mean, that's just fucking disgusting that she was laughing over that. And of course we also have the government not giving us single payer health care. So now a lot of poor and working class people, maybe even some middle class people, they actually die because they don't have enough money in their pockets to pay off all these shitty insurance companies to give them health care, when really the people of the United States just need single payer, so everybody could go and get very good health care and be able to get taken care of no matter what, no matter the size of their pocketbooks. So we still have that issue. Then we also have the issue of fracking, where a bunch of places, especially in the Texas, Oklahoma region, the government's polluting the groundwaters when they're actually not disposing of all this wastewater from fracking. So a lot of people don't have any clean drinking water. And of course people are getting a little bit ill because of all the pollution that's in the area. And guess what? Guns are not gonna really solve that issue either. So you could keep bitching and whining and moaning, keep talking about how you still need your gun, but a lot of these issues that have been going on and are still gonna keep going on, that's undermining people's health and liberty and people's freedom to be able to to have privacy and other different protections. That gun has not done jack shit to help out with that at all. And there's going to continue being new issues and new problems that go on with our political system or with our social system. And a gun ain't going to fucking fix it either. Plus, your gun's only going to be the ideal choice against our tyrannical government is when we're actually in a violent revolution. And we're not there yet. So using your gun to try to enact some social or political change that's going to help the people isn't going to work.